Can one company deliver on a commitment to every person in Michigan? Count on it. Count on Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan to be there for our members and for everyone across Michigan. Every day, in every zip code, we're committed to our Michigan communities. At free clinics, offering help to those in need. At schools, teaching kids healthier habits. All over Michigan, we're making a difference because this is our home too. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Confidence comes with every card.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome into Woodbridge Pub for the first edition of Weekly With Wheatley. I'm your host, Brady Beedon, and we will be joined by head coach Tyrone Wheatley. We will talk to defensive coordinator Antwon Robinson, Anthony Walk throughout the night. But, of course, we start off with the head ball coach, Tyrone Wheatley. Coach, it's good to be back here talking with you at Woodbridge Pub.
Great season, man. Good to be here.
All right, well, let's start because a lot to talk about in the offseason, and one of the big headlines was a lot of changes you made in the coaching staff. Only a handful of guys have been retained from last year, most notably both coordinators. One you went outside the program to get in Coach McDonald, and Coach Robinson, who I mentioned earlier, was an in-house hire. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball, or just with both coordinators, really. When did you know that you were going to make a change at coordinators? Because that's a pretty substantial change for the program. When did you figure out, like, okay, we need to kind of make a fairly drastic move here?
Well, it wasn't so drastic as many would assume, right? Mm-hmm. It's only drastic when there's not a reason for it. And the reason being is that we wanted to be able to compete with the conference, right? Offense and defensively to compete with the conference. Although both are great coordinators, but one of the things we talked about earlier and before they got hired is just understanding this conference and being able to play and have defenses and offenses to suit to win this conference. And we just weren't able to do that. So went on ahead and made a change.
So let's start with the offensive side of the ball. J.C. McDonald coming in. What kind of changes can fans expect to see with the new offensive coordinator? Is it going to be drastic from last year? Is it going to be small tweaks? What is Coach McDonald's offense going to look like?
It's just going to be small tweaks. Nothing, like I say, nothing too drastic, nothing too major. It's just understanding the complexity of the GLIAC, the physicality of the GLIAC, and just understanding how to maneuver the ball in those certain situations. So nothing too extreme.
So obviously you've played and coached at all different sorts of levels, and you keep coming back to the GLIAC and how physical and different it is. What makes it different than some other leagues that you've played in, whether it's the FCS level or heck, even the Division I FBS level? What makes the GLIAC different and so tough to compete in? Well,
each coach has had a tremendous amount of time to really kind of hone his skill in on his team. And so I talked about it earlier. This conference kind of has its own defense. Everybody kind of plays this Bearcat, right? It's a variation of an under and an over front with a variation of a bear in it, right? So, but at the same time, they've had a chance and the time to perfect this defense. This conference is rooted in the triple option, but at the same time, I think that's why their defense was prepared to stop the triple option in the hard ground game, a two-back hard ground game, and power recognition of offense. So it's like a baby Big Ten, but it's also a physical in nature team, right? All these teams are very, very well coached. These coaches kind of have suited each other and kind of went around this conference and landed in their respective places at their colleges. But this is a tough conference.
All right, let's talk defensive side of the ball. Antwon Robinson, in-house guy. He's been around the longest continuously tenured coach on the coaching staff. What about him made it say, hey, we've got our guy right here. I don't need to go looking for anyone. We've got Coach Robinson. He's going to be our man on defense.
Well, once again, he understands the conference. Not only just being a player here, but as you said, being the longest tenured coach here, he's coached here before. So he understands, once again, the complexity of the offenses and not only just the complexity, but just the simplicity of what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And also recruiting. I think that's the biggest portion, I think, when you talk about building your program is recruiting and where to recruit and how to recruit.
All right, well, let's talk about some other things in the offseason, mainly the amount of turnover that is kind of commonplace nowadays in college football. You basically half your roster is brand new. And that can be a challenge for a coach. Is, in the old days, it's, hey, I got you, and you're mine for 4 years, unless you want to sit out a year and you lose a guy, maybe two. What was it like with the roster turnover? I know a lot of them are freshmen, but you brought in a decent amount of guys from the portal. What was the attitude going into the offseason in terms of, roster construction and personnel on the field?
Well, the attitude was really get young. I know a lot of people say they want to get old early. Well, I want to build a culture. Right? We talked about continuing building this culture, bringing young guys in, bringing them in from good high schools, good tradition high schools that understand what it's like to be a college football player, guys that have produced good high school players. So we went to those schools. We recruited those young men. But at the same time, like you said, we facilitated and supplemented with some older guys. But the base and the crux of right now what we're doing is young guys. And you want to build for the long haul in the future.
So let's talk about some of that personnel. Let's start at the quarterback position. Braden Seary was the first guy. He was listed as the number one on the depth chart. Looks like he's going to get the start against Tiffin. What about him stood out over a couple guys that had played a lot of snaps for you the last couple of years that said, you know what, we're going to trust this kid at quarterback?
Well, one of the main reasons we talked about earlier is what understanding the conference, right? He takes care of the ball. He's an older guy. He takes care of the ball, puts us in position, not just to rely on legs and physical ability, but he's a cerebral player. But that doesn't mean Champ and Justin won't get a chance to play. And also the evaluation will continue also during the game.
All right, let's go to running back, your position group. You got Tyus back. He's a big part. But you brought some guys in that, you're hoping to carry the workload. I know you're not a coach that expects one workhorse back's going to get 400 carries throughout the season. So who else around Xavier is going to be touching the ball? And, you give Tyus a little love too.
Well, no, we start off with Tyus. Like we talked about a little bit earlier. Tyus is a guy, he's a workhorse. I mean, his older brother lineage is great, right? His older brother played with Northwestern, signed with the Lions, unfortunate injury. But an incredible back. He's a hard-nosed, hard-running guy. Thought he had him bottled up a couple of times last year, but those legs keeps churning and he comes out of it really well. Then you go with Braden McKenna. I just call him Mr. Reliable. There's nothing real sexy about him. It's just he's a steady guy. Just every day he comes in, he puts in the work. And then we brought in a transfer, Devon Bentley from Lawrence Tech, and this guy's electric.
So out wide, Justice Tuggle is the one name that everyone's going to remember from last year, but you've sprinkled in some new guys as well. Let's go through the wide receivers. And, Justice is a guy, like I said, everyone remembers him from last year. He made plays a large portion of the season. What about some of the other guys coming in? Who are going to be some other names we're saying on Thursday night?
Well, we're looking for two young guys, two redshirt freshmen, Payne and Isaac. These two young guys are big body guys that can run, they're physical, and we want to really see them get in the game and just use their physicality, right? Body position, great catching radius, and they're hungry. These guys are hungry to get out there and play.
So when we go to the offensive line, the first thing I want to talk about is, we talked earlier about the changes in coaching staff. You kept Coach Bird around. He was one of the guys that you kept steady. What about him gave you the confidence to say, you know what, yeah, we've got to make some tweaks and some changes, but we've got the right fit here on the O-line?
Well, when you're players, you have to listen to the players. Although I do make the final decision, but you also have to talk to your players and get a chance to listen to them. You have to hear what they're saying. And one of the guys that they loved, they taught them well, and they connected with. That's the big thing, connection. They connected well with Coach Bird.
So the players you have coming back, you don't have a lot of depth on the offensive line. That's probably your thinnest position group on the entire team. But who are the guys that are going to be taking the snaps and the ones you're looking forward to? I know there's a few names that we saw last year and lost some time, whether it be due to injury or just due to trying to find the right group of guys. Who are you looking to step up this year on the Wayne State offensive line?
Well, a young man that stepped up really big time in the spring is Ethan Gates. I mean, he's matured in every way possible. You know, he's changed his body. You know, he stepped out of the adolescence, and now he looks like a man now. You know, he's changed his body, did a great job in terms of learning football. When I say learning football, playing it actually in his head. I can have a conversation with him and not have to draw it up. And we're having these conversations going back and forth, which we had a great conversation today. He came over and said, hey, Coach, you know, we're running this, but can we call it this because it kind of messes with my head a little bit. And that right there makes me really proud because he has not only the confidence, but he understands the scheme where he can now come to me and we can talk and we can have these conversations. And you know what? As an former offensive lineman, it's good for the coach to say, you know what? I like that. We'll change it. And so now I love to see his growth. Another one is Will Edwards. Love seeing Will Edwards. Guy that we had last year who had a real bad injury, that Ricardo Warman. I mean, I like this kid. I can't wait to see him play.
All right, let's turn our attention towards the Tiffin Dragons coming in Thursday night to Tom Adams Field, your lone night game of the season, too. Last year, you know, it was a slow first play, you get the sack, you get the turnover, can't punch it in, you have to kick the field goal, and then kind of stalled out from there. How important is a quick start for you guys, especially after trying to build off any momentum you had last season and not dig yourself in such a hole like in 24?
Well, a quick start is always great, right? But it's not always how you start, it's how you finish. But starting quick, not getting behind, like you say, the chains, and not giving up sacks and interceptions. That's the biggest portion, right? I think that's any football game, right? Keep the ball, don't give it away, stay ahead of the chains, and score points. But if you watch a lot of college football this year, first game of the year is always going to be one of those ups and down, war of attrition type games. Guys can't really get tired. They have to stay present. And what I mean by stay present is it may be 0-0. And if it's 0-0, you can't get outside yourself and say, we're going to try and do something to make a play, and then you make a huge mistake. But this Tiffin team's a good team. They return a lot of their guys. They return a lot of production. And, all their guys are back.
So a lot of those guys are back, and that was a pretty darn good Tiffin team from a year ago. What are some of the spots that Warrior fans should be looking for? They're like, hey, this team's going to be good, but if we're shutting this area down in Tiffin, we're having success.
Well, they returned the GMAC Player of the Year in the quarterback. If we could contain him and don't allow him to just make throws all over the field, keep the ball in front of us, contain it, and tackle it and rally it, we'll be okay. Because I tell you what, he's a sharpshooter. He doesn't miss much. He doesn't miss much. And you know what he's really great at? He's really great on being opportunistic. When we turn the ball over, when the team turns the ball over, he is really right around 60 to 7% in touchdown ratio after getting the ball in sudden change. He does a phenomenal job in that aspect. A running back, another good running back. I think he had like 1,300 yards last year. So they complement each other really well. Run-pass ratio, great complementary football in terms of offensively. Defense, we go back to the defense. I mean, once again, one of the tops in the GMAC. They move up front a lot. These guys don't really do anything too crazy, but they're just very sound in playing football. And so to negate those things, once again, it's just going to have to be one of those games where we are at tempo, meaning we're not going to get off our track. We're going to stay right where we need to be, and we're going to play football.
Like I mentioned, your only night game of the season at Tom Adams Field. Does that add a little extra to it, also being the home opener, the first game of the season? Just the one game under the lights, that's got to add just a little bit of flair to it, being the only one of the season.
You know what? As a football coach, you want to try and keep things steady and even and not bring anything extra into it. But the guys are hyped up. They're ready for it. They just really love the light, being under the lights, night game. So they're excited about it.
All right, going into the 2025 season, as the coach, you're in your third year, and that's usually when you start to see things really click. Like you've gotten your hands on a lot of these, the personnel coming in. It's a lot of guys that you hand selected. What are your expectations this year to take a step forward? What's been the message to the guys in the locker room of like, hey, these are the expectations now that you're a Wayne State Warrior, and to take that step forward?
I think it all just still remains the same. Play physical football, mistake-free football, and just have fun, right? We have to have fun. We can't get into the woe. I think we got a lot of the woe it's me syndrome out, right? Or here we go again syndrome. I think we got a lot of that out of here. The biggest thing right now is just going out and playing mistake-free football. And the term I use in the locker room is make them players, meaning let's not give them unforced errors, penalties, personal fouls, and things of that nature. Make them play football. Make them play football for 4 quarters, and that's it.
All right, Coach. Well, I appreciate it. Good luck this Thursday against Tiffin, and then a couple of road trips coming up for you. So you're gonna have to get the bus ready before we're back here at Woodbridge Pub.
Oh yeah, I bought me a weighted blanket, so I'm ready for it.
All right, Coach. We appreciate it. He's head coach Tyrone Wheatley. We'll have more right after this here on Weekly with Wheatley. All right, next guest here on Weekly with Wheatley, we welcome on the newly christened defensive coordinator, Antwon Robinson. Coach, I guess we'll start off first with congratulations. Nice step up, a nice promotion. So how does it feel to be the guy in charge of the defense?
It feels good, actually, because I get a chance to coach everybody again. The guys are rallying behind us, so, we were ready to go. That's the biggest thing.
All right, so looking defensively, we kind of talked about it before we started recording, is you guys bring a lot back. Let's start with your room in the secondary, because there's a lot of names that I was talking about last year and I said a lot of good things about that are back, another year of seasoning, ready to go for 2025. Walk us through your cornerbacks and safeties.
All right, I'm going to start with Anthony Walk. He's going to be a junior this year, But I'm going to start with Anthony Walk. I brought him here with me today. He's going to be a junior. He's had a phenomenal summer. He's doing everything that we need him to do. Expect for him to have a great season this year. Then we also brought in Wendell Smith, who's going to be a transfer. He's a local kid from Southfield when they won the state championship. So me and him, we've always had a connection. We also got Jonathan Tillman, who will be in the mix, who was a part-time starter last year, who's looking to really fulfill more roles. Phil Cato. Right now, Phil Cato had the best spring, best summer. He's producing every day. Let's see. Kelly Matthews is somebody that we brought in from when we played Concordia a couple years ago. I've always been looking to try to get Kelly here. We got Kelly here, and, he's bringing a different dynamic of just something we didn't have before. Jasir Rahman is everything that we need. We got some dogs back there.
Yeah. No, you're going through, and what I'm thinking when you just bringing all these guys up is it's going to create some competition, but it also gives you a lot of different chess pieces to use. That if there's a guy that maybe has one specific skill set, like, hey, I can use him in third and long, or if it's goal line, I can bring in a more physical cornerback. That it just gives you a few more things to use and a lot of depth too, which has hurt you at times in years past.
Yeah, so, we're developing guys. Like you said, we retain a lot of guys. Even just looking at that, as these guys are in our programs, even with Coach Mendoza, as their bodies are transforming, now their corners are converting to safeties. Elijah Folks has made that jump, full-time safeties. Cliff Buchanan, So when we're looking at our secondary, we're old. We're starting 3 seniors and a junior, with the lone junior being Walk. But, yeah, we're old now.
So, you've been with a lot of these guys for a while, so I know you're getting them where you want to get them, but – going to have the whole defense, so I'm going to make you go through some of the rest of the guys. I know we'll have all the other coaches on, but getting ready for the season, I know a lot of Warrior fans out there want to hear about the defense, so let's go to the linebackers, kind of the quarterbacks of the defense, the guys that need to lead the way. Who are going to be the guys barking out signals, getting everyone in the right spot on Thursday night?
That's going to be Martell Williams, going to be our starting middle linebacker. One of the biggest guys that has made such an improvement, Quincy Salters. Quincy Salters was actually named special team captain today. We got Logan McGraw, who's a transfer from Tennessee State. He went to Dodge City for a stint, but he's a local kid from Wyandotte, so he's our starting will linebacker. Max Edwards. Max Edwards has done everything that we've ever asked him to do. He played safety. He played will linebacker. He played star. He's going to play everywhere for us. Spencer Lyons. Spencer Lyons was at Army, at Western Michigan. He's a local guy from Detroit CC. He's huge. When you see him, we don't have guys that big that can move the way that he does. We're bringing back Najee Mabry. So Najee was here my first time when I was a coordinator. To bring back a familiar face is always good. And then, we got the development of KJ Jefferson, Devin Brown. We got some young guys, too. We got a lot of young guys behind them.
So, let's go to the D-line. And one of the issues, the last couple of years is just not generating a lot of pressure. And I'm sure from the DB's perspective, you're saying, hey, that's making my guy's life a heck of a lot harder, having to cover for 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds sometimes. You're also bragging, you're like, man, we've got some guys, we've got some competition on this D-line. Let's start at the ends. I'm a little biased. Let's start at the defensive end spot, because those are some of the names you were bragging to me about.
It's a bunch of them. So we got Will Finema anchoring it. Will Finema played last year in the first game, and he ended up breaking his ankle. Jaden Acker, who's our sack leader, is back. So those are our ends. We also have Darrell Washington, who came to us. He's a junior. Ashawn Sims came to us from Colgate. He's Elijah Folks' cousin. 6'4", 260. So he does a lot for us because we can move him inside. Joe Clark. Getting a healthy Joe Clark is fantastic because he's the vet around there. You know, as well as Kobe Horn. You know, they've played a lot of football for Wayne State. Who else we got in that room? Oh, Aiden Johnson. Can't forget Aiden Johnson will be the biggest piece of things that we have, you know.
The one name I was really excited about, and I thought he shined as a real young guy last year inside, was Roshan McGee. I mean, he was one guy that, even if the game wasn't going well, there would be a few plays where like, oh, keep him around. Do not let him leave the city of Detroit because he's a dude. I know you have other guys on the interior, but I feel like we have to start with Roshan.
Ro is going to anchor that defensive line, you know. So we're going to do some things with Ro where he's playing the shed, where he's playing the 3, but we're going to cater things towards Roshan. And to go along with Roshan, we got the development of T. Alo, who came in with them. So we got T, Roshan, Justin Austin, and then we also – so Justin is a transfer by way of Cleveland Heights, where we got some guys that way. He went to a couple different schools. Now he landed here with us. We got Omar. Omar was at Hawaii. He's from California. So we got some also Mikey Thomas coming to us. All right, so with Mikey, he's coming to us from Cabrillo College out in California. So, you know, now we hitting our national reach right now with some of these guys.
All right, so as a defensive coordinator, obviously you a little different than being just the DB's coach. You kind of have to have a 10,000-foot view at some times. How do you balance that with being, you know, also the DB coach and knowing that, all right, gotta keep my eye on the linebackers, got to make sure they're doing what they're doing, got to make sure the D-line, everyone's on the same page. For you personally, how has that been a little different?
I mean, the way that I handled it, I trust my coaches. You know, Coach Solid does a great job with the linebackers. Coach Garland with the defensive line. Coach Banks actually does a huge role with the DBs. That's my defensive GA. And Coach Harasley, you know, he runs our scout teams, whether it's special teams, whether it's defense. You know, we get everything going, and I rely on my staff. And also the older players, you know, they actually know what we want so they can get things going in the manners that we need them done.
So how is an Antwon Robinson defense going to look a little different than the defenses of the last 2 years? I mean, obviously you were a part of it, but everyone's always going to put their own spin on it and do it their own way. How is this defense going to look different than it did the last couple of seasons?
We're going to be multiple, and, you know, we're going to cater everything towards the personnel that we have. You know, like you kind of hinted to earlier, we'll play certain guys in third down, certain guys in first and second down, goal line, right? Everybody has a role, and now everybody's just exceeding that role.
All right, I do have to ask a little bit of a selfish one, but I remember about 8 years ago, 2 GAs named Antwon Robinson and DeJuan Garland hanging out over there in the football offices, and now fast forward to 2025, you guys are both part of the defensive staff. How has that been to have him back? I know you got a lot of good coaches over there, but, you know, Coach Garland, he was one of my GAs. He was the GA the same time you were. What did that mean for you guys to get back together? Because I know you guys had a good relationship the first time around. To get him back in the green and gold, what did that mean?
Oh, man, it means a lot. You know, that's one of my better friends. The biggest thing is his trust factor, too. You know, he's somebody that I don't have to question his work ethic, his football knowledge. I know that he's going to wake up. We're going to be on, you know, what they say, we on the same type time. You know, he get up, I get up. So we're texting, we're calling throughout the day. So we're always talking Wayne State football all the time.
You're not doing any more whiteboard drafts before practice or before games, or you still, you know, sometimes when the work's all done, you just some off-the-wall drafts?
Come over there and see. No, we do a lot. You know, we do a lot, especially because we kind of added to the locker room. So, you know, we do a lot. We incorporate the kids with it, you know, the players. One of the biggest things that we do now is Jeopardy or Cahoots or something interactive to get them going, just to test their knowledge. We even test their Wayne State football knowledge, you know,
really?
Like the history of Wayne State football. So, yeah.
What were some of the better questions you got? Or let me ask you this. Who knew the most about Wayne State football history on your defense?
I want to say the DBs won the last 3 rounds.
Oh.
Granted, I think they were sitting in when I was making the questions. So yeah. But you gotta ask questions, because then once these guys understand the history, right? When they understand who, it's more than just Joyke Bell, right? It's more than just Anthony Pittman, but the Leon Egglestons or the Dalen Peaks, the Coach Jimmy Hill, like the type of career that he had here, you know, understanding the Sergio Galexi's, different people that were in place prior, you know, it kind of gives everything a different meaning.
Yeah, knowing kind of what came before you in the long history, and knowing that, you know, you got 40, 50, sometimes 60 years of history in those stands cheering for you, that can make a big difference. And, yeah, it's a fun thing to, you know, have a lighter part of practice. But I do think it is important to understand, like for example, it's been 50 years since the 1975 GLIAC championship team. That's a big part of this season, and understanding, what the history is, mostly good, but sometimes understanding the negative history to try to change that.
Yeah, so that's big. So we did one thing throughout the summer is we got on the calls, like our Zoom calls throughout the summer, no matter where guys were, 8 p.m. Monday night, we get on that Zoom call. And we have different alumni, hop in and talk to them. So we go back, we talk with the recent guys, Carl Ware, Drake Reed, but we reach back to Ty Spence. You mentioned the 75 team. So Tom Hurley, who was the captain of that team, was my gym teacher. So we reached out to Tom Hurley. And just for anybody to give us any type of insight of what they want to see Wayne State defense be, more the team, the defense, that's big for us. That's big because people support people that they know.
Right.
So that we're trying to incorporate getting alumni involved so that they get to those games.
Absolutely. So, Coach, anything else you want to throw in there? Anyone else you need to give a little bit of love to, or you're ready to go and ready for to kick off against Tiffin?
Our safeties. I didn't talk about the safeties, right? Obviously, we got folks. We got Cliff. Those are going to be the starters. We added Josh. Josh was one of our equipment managers. He was dealing with an injury last year, who's doing great. Amarion Brownlee. From Lance Cruz, Amarion Brownlee has been phenomenal. And then we got some young guys that's gonna get out there early. The Drew Rankins, Jaheim Richmond, and Duran Flowers coming from Toledo CC.
A lot of names, and he doesn't have a roster or anything in front of him. If you're listening at home, he that was right off the top. So I think he's got a pretty good grip on his defense. Coach, congratulations again, and good luck against Tiffin.
All right, thank you.
All right, our final guest here today on Weekly with Wheatley, junior cornerback Anthony Walk. And Anthony, first of all, thank you for coming on. First player guest with Weekly with Wheatley. So you get to kick us off for the 2025 season. I guess we'll start. How did the summer go? How did the offseason go? And are you ready to get on the field and play against someone other than, your 100 and some odd teammates?
Yeah, so the summer, I'm coming back from injury, so I went hard all summer. So really just full head of steam, ready for the season. That's it.
So coming back from the injury, I know you work a lot with the athletic training staff. I know you work a lot with Coach Mendoza getting you back in. Just where are you feeling with that? Because, it's always nerve-wracking coming back from a fairly substantial injury. You're feeling good, ready to go, and ready to kick off in just a couple days against Tiffin.
Yeah, the training staff, they're going to go hard on me every day. Every day I'm in there, I got to get treatment. Coach Mendoza going to go hard on us all the time in there, in the weight room, push us to the limits. So, yeah.
I know, everyone thinks, obviously Coach Mendoza is going to push you. He's the big grizzly bear coach. But, man, some of that rehab, you'll leave and you're sweating worse than sometimes after workouts. Like having gone through, physical therapy myself.
Yeah.
Man, they push you hard. I don't think some people understand just how much you have to do in physical therapy.
No, yeah, PT was probably the hardest stage of coming back from the injury. That was crazy. PT was probably the hardest part of battling my injury.
All right, I'm going to start off asking you about your coach, Antwon Robinson. A nice question first. Now he's the defensive coordinator. Still got you at the DB room, but what's it like having him as a coach? And are you happy that he's going to be, running the entire defense this year as well?
Coach Twan, sometimes you got to know when he's playing or when he's serious. So I don't really know what to say.
Yeah, he's got his own kind of language, doesn't he?
Yeah, you got to just know when he's serious and when he's locked in. I mean, playful mode. That's
right.
Yeah.
So we have this group of guys coming back, and a lot of you have been here for a few years. If you look at all the position groups, DBs are kind of the one that's been around the longest, and the names we've been saying for a few years now. How has that been? Because I know you've got some guys that you came in with from Detroit Central.
Yeah.
You got some guys that you've made friends with here. What's this group been like for the last couple of years, and now coming into what is kind of like your third full year together?
So I came in probably Elijah Folks. That's probably who I play with the most on the field in the secondary, but our secondary is going to be crazy for sure. I feel comfortable with all the guys that's on the field with me, so I'm ready. I'm ready to show it.
So, I've been in a similar spot, when I played here. Coming off a 2-9 season, it's not a fun offseason. Like, it feels like it takes forever, and you're just – I guess the way is just you kind of feel the embarrassment. You're like, we're better than this. We need to go and show it, and you're ready for week one. What was the offseason like with the guys that had been here since the end of last year? Was there that extra drive of like, hey, we're better than what this record show. We need to push it forward and improve it because, we've got too much talent to put up a record like that.
Yeah, so the whole thing this offseason was like we was trying to build a brotherhood in the locker room and build that brotherhood. I know it could translate to the field. That's really was the whole main thing, was to try to build that brotherhood, get bonds closer throughout the whole team. So, yeah.
I want to talk for a minute. I always like getting to know the person behind the football pads. Everyone knows the number, the plays, and the stats. Those are the easy things to find out. But tell me a little bit. I know, obviously, Detroit kid from Central. Come to Wayne State. What are you studying, and what does Anthony want to do when he finally hangs up the cleats at some point in the future?
I'm studying sports management, but wherever God takes me, that's where I'm going to go. But I would like to do anything in the sports field. It really doesn't matter to me.
So you want to be somewhere like on a sideline, whether it's coaching behind the scenes? Do you want to be someone in front of the camera, someone that everyone's looking at, or someone pulling the strings behind the scenes that, you make everything go, they just don't see your face?
I can do it all, so I would do it all, really. That's it.
That's awesome. So sports management major from Detroit Central.
Yes,
what does it mean? Because, sometimes you get guys that go, I played in Detroit, I grew up. I want to get out of Detroit. I want to go somewhere else. What was it for you that said, no, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to play college ball in the city I grew up in and basically play for my hometown college team?
Really, Coach Twan was recruiting me heavy. Like, I came probably to every game my senior year, every game probably. So I knew the bond that Coach Twan was building with me, it felt like home. So I knew I had to come here.
So what is an Antwon Robinson recruiting pitch like? What's he trying to sell you before he gets you in the position group, and then he starts to get, he gets to turn to coach then? What's that recruiting pitch sound like?
Let me think. I really can't. I don't have no pitch. I can't think. It's been a minute.
Just showing up everywhere?
I'm telling you, I probably came to every home game of Wayne State's in my senior year.
All right, so Anthony, just final couple of questions for you is, what should the fans at home expect from the 2025 Wayne State defense? What should they expect from Anthony Walk in 2025?
Our defense is gonna be nasty for sure. We got Martell Williams, Logan, Spencer. Our secondary, that's gonna be up to par for sure. For me personally, I'm just ready to get back out there. Our season ended up short last year, but I'm just ready to get back out there.
Well, Anthony, I always appreciate it. Thank you for being the guinea pig for the first player to come on this year. Did a great job, and good luck this year. Stay healthy. I love watching number 7 fly around out there. So I want to see you make some plays, especially in a couple nights against Tiffin.
Appreciate it.
He's Anthony Walk. That'll do it for the first edition of Weekly with Wheatley here in 2025. As, again, Thursday night, 6 o'clock, kickoff at Tom Adams Field. Be there, and then we'll be back in a few weeks here with another episode of Weekly with Wheatley.
It's me, your PSCU finance coach. Here at PSCU, we're a team. When you refer a friend to PSCU, they get the best credit union ever. And as a member, you get a sweet cash bonus. It's like telling your buddy about the best spot in the stadium to grab some nachos, and he gives you the first chip. Delicious. Cash referrals. Bank better together with Public Service Credit Union.